Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me, that I might know your might. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. Come dream a dream with me. Come dream a dream with me. Come dream a dream with me, that I might know your might. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. Come walk in rain with me. Come walk in rain with me. Come walk in rain with me, that I might know your might. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. Come share a rose with me. Come share a rose with me. Come share a rose with me, that I might know your might. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time.
Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Hillsborough's online worship service. My name is Dave Yelton, and I'm the worship coordinator for today. My partners in creating this program include Aviva Enoch, our musical director and chalice lighter today, Wendy Calvin, our video producer and editor, and a number of wonderful singers who are featured throughout the service. And once again, we are blessed to have with us today as our guest speaker, the Reverend Holly Lux Sullivan, one of our very own members who went on to become an ordained UU minister. She is a graduate of Meadville Lombard Theological School and is in fellowship with the Unitarian Universalist Association. She currently serves as the hospice chaplain and bereavement counselor who accompanies people at the end of their lives in Alamance and surrounding counties. She also wants us to know that she is an avid reader, that's no surprise there, as well as a greyhound enthusiast. And she lives in Mebane with Kevin, her beloved spouse of 20 years. So Holly, welcome, and we look forward to your inspiring and playful message today. As a congregation, we are committed to working for social justice and social equity in our community. An important part of that support comes in the form of weekly online donations, which are separate and apart from our yearly pledges for the operating budget. So each week, we invite you to contribute to our special Share the Plate offering, which we share with one of our local partners in this vital ongoing community work. Our community partner for this month is the Minister's Discretionary Fund, which can be used for temporary and unexpected needs which arise within our membership or community. So please give generously online as shown on the screen. We thank you, and the community thanks you.
Before we prepare for worship today, there is one more announcement worth making, recognizing and celebrating a special milestone here at UUCH. Today's service, for June 13th, will be our very last one that we have to pre-record. Hooray! From now on, we will be live here at our building on Sunday mornings. Woo-hoo! By our count, there have been 65 such pre-recorded online services that our worship team has produced since last March at the start of the pandemic.
Whoa!
And 41 of those we have produced on our own after Patty Hanneman retired from her position as our minister at the end of August. We all owe a special debt of gratitude to several key members of our worship team who guided us through the digital and technical minefield of pre-recording, editing, broadcasting these services through YouTube and Facebook. Allison Mahaley was our technical guide and guru for all the time that Patty was still with us from March through August, therefore producing about 24 of our online services. Then Allison passed the torch to Wendy Calvin, who became our producer, editor, starting in September, and has since produced 41 services.
Oh, yeah.
And how could we forget how much we have all been blessed by Aviva Enoch's gifted contributions in providing musical and visual inspirations throughout these many challenging months.
I love
And
you.
now we can look forward to having in-person live services from now on.
Wow!
Inside, as well as occasionally outdoors, while of course still following safe COVID guidelines as we move forward. So I believe this milestone in the life of UUCH deserves a heartfelt thank you and a celebratory blessed be, maybe even a raucous hallelujah.
As we now prepare for worship, let's remind ourselves of who we are and why we gather this way each week. We are a community of liberal, open-minded people who strive to connect with one another in love. We are a people defined by covenant, not by creed, which means that we have committed to a way of being with each other and supporting one another rather than committing to any one statement of common belief. To that end, we support each other in our individual spiritual growth and deepening of faith. We challenge one another to find more love both inside ourselves and in the world. And while our physical meeting space is located here at 1710 Old Highway 10 at the corner of Lawrence Road, today we invite all of you who are part of our larger spiritual online community, whether you are here in the greater Hillsborough area or elsewhere in North Carolina or throughout the country, to join us in our online house of worship. So now, let's begin our service in our time-honored way as we light our Unitarian Universalist chalice.
Words of Reverend Scott Taylor. Let this dancing light be our guide. Let it lure us into letting go of the worries, of the stiffness that sets in after all the striving, of the myth that productivity alone gives us purpose. This garden of life we've been given is a playground. The weeding can wait.
Whatever beat is moving through your bones, whatever holy disturbance is rising in your chest, whatever good word you've got for the good of the whole, clap it, snap it, bring it out, call it out. Take the beat and add to it, change it, make it yours. Gathered here in this sweet beauty, this power, bring all that you are and let it out. Let us not waste this time. Let us make a joyful noise, a more interesting sound, a fuller call, a greater yes. Say it with me, yes. Call out hello and amen. Woo-hoo! And yes again. Sing for justice, sway in hope, play with purpose. This time is precious. You are precious. And all of us, this chance is a gift. Each breath is a gift. Being all together, however we are, is a gift. Let's celebrate. Find a new rhythm, write a new song, march a new march for this longing, this dreaming, this discovery, for the urgent call of this day, for courageous love. Let it ring out. Come, let us worship together.
it be a dance we do. May I have this dance with you, through the good times and the bad times too. Let it be a dance. Let a dancing song be heard. Play the music, say the words, and fill the sky with sailing birds. Let it be a dance, let it be a dance, let it be a dance. Learn to follow, learn to lead. Feel the rhythm, feel the need. To reap the harvest, plant the seed. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance we do. May I have this dance with you, through the good times and the bad times too. Let it be a dance. Everybody turn and spin. Let your body learn to bend. And like a willow with the wind, let it be a dance, let it be a dance, let it be a dance. A child is born, the old must die. A time for joy, a time to cry. Take it as it passes by. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance we do. May I have this dance with you, through the good times and the bad times too. Let it be a dance. Morning star comes out at night. Without the dark there is no light. If nothing's wrong, then nothing's right. Let it be a dance, let it be a dance, let it be a dance. Let the sunshine, let it rain. Share the laughter, bear the pain. And round we go again. Let it be a dance.
Ours is a welcoming community where we find connection, a sharing community where our joys are celebrated, and a caring community where our sorrows are lessened. Each Sunday, we take a moment to share and reflect on the special happenings that have occurred this week in our lives. For those of you who would like to share in the comments or the chat, please do so. And know that everything shared aloud or felt in silence is held dearly in the heart of our community. The reading today is Blessed Are the Magic Makers by Teresa Honey Youngblood. To quote Ralph Waldo Emerson, "It is a happy talent to know how to play." One glorious spring day, I was on a field trip with a group of middle school youth, venturing a short way down the Florida National Scenic Trail. We were aiming for a small swimming hole about a mile in on a new section of the trail. But about halfway there, we heard and then saw an arresting sight up ahead. 2 large eastern diamondback rattlesnakes, who upon hearing us come around the bend had coiled their considerable bulk and were making a bone-chilling noise with their impressive tails. Their heads held aloft 1/2 foot off the ground. We felt awed and chastened to have encountered them. Still, after waiting in vain for 10 minutes or so for them to move on, we turned and went back the way we came, intending to find an alternate route to the spring. But the alternative path we chose was through a section of grass that, while free of venomous serpents, was full of very large, very sharp sand spurs. In fact, we had somehow missed that until our whole group was a ways in. We could see the main path to the swimming hole ahead, but we had to pick our way through the burrs to get there. Behind us, of course, were the rattlesnakes. Caught between the proverbial rock and hard place, what did the youth do? They started playing. A few of the more athletic youth sprinted ahead and then cheered the rest of us on as they picked the spurs from their socks and skin. As one made her way out of this pokey grass, she joyfully tossed her tennis shoes to a classmate wearing flip-flops. A few held hands in a vertical line and danced their way through, the first saving the 2 behind her from the brunt of the spurs. Now, neurochemically speaking, panic and euphoria are kissing cousins. Blessed are the magic makers, often our children and youth, and some local adults who retain the charm, who can transmute one to the other in the most unexpected and needed moments.
Return again, return again, return to the home of your soul. Return again, return again, return to the home of your soul. Return to who you are, return to what you are, return to where you are, born and reborn again. Return to who you are, return to what you are, return to where you are, born and reborn again. Return to who you are, return to what you are, return to where you are, born and reborn again. Return to who you are, return to what you are, return to where you are, born and reborn again. Return to who you are, return to what you are, return to where you are, born and reborn again. Return to who you are, return to what you are, return to where you are, born and reborn again.
If you haven't already, get something to play with. It might be a Rubik's Cube or Legos, knitting needles, or an old radio you've torn open and are fiddling around with the insides of. It can be anything that gives you a little jolt of delight just to futz with. Get something now. You can pause me. I'll wait. I have these ludicrously overpriced but adorably pink magnetic metal balls. While I've been working from home for the last 15 months, they've kept me company during many a Zoom meeting. They keep my brain busy when I need to be doing something other than staring at a screen. My brain would otherwise just wander all over, so if I focus my hands with my fun little pink balls, then I can stay focused on the meeting with my eyes. They come with a booklet about how to make various fancy shapes and pyramids and stuff, but that's just not much fun for me. For reasons I can't explain, I love making long, straight strands of them, just lining them up perfectly. It's inexplicably satisfying. Mindlessly playing with them prevents me from distracting my brain in other ways. How many of us have clicked into other windows while we're in a Zoom meeting? Because either way, you're staring at the screen, right? So why am I asking you to play with something with your hands? Because with summer officially beginning next Sunday, we find ourselves at the start of a season kind of officially dedicated to fun. Summer begins and we head to the beach or the mountains, depending on whether we want to bask in the sun like lizards or enjoy blissfully low humidity among forests. Families drag out balls and gloves, swimsuits and coolers, and head outside. If you're like my brother and me, when you were a kid, you were perpetually under your busy parents' feet. And what did they say when they needed us out of their hair? Go outside and play, right? The directive was never play well. It was always just play. Play to get out of my way, certainly, but also play for the love of playing. Because play is an end unto itself. Because fun is an end unto itself. Forget major league sports and winning it all. Even professional athletes at least begin their careers loving to play their game. And in my case, going outside to play usually meant grabbing a book and finding shade in the yard. Author Margaret Gunther writes, "When we play, we celebrate holy uselessness. Play, in its disinterestedness and self-forgetting, can be fruitful." There are many elders I look up to who remain playful throughout their lives, many of them in our congregation. They seem so much more youthful, even than people younger than themselves, because those people's sense of play, I imagine, was either never nurtured or withered and dimmed over the years. Too often we allow the responsibilities of adulthood to weigh us down, and certainly they are many. We become people we don't recognize, who rarely smile or laugh, whose only concern is getting the next thing checked off the list. The problem with that is that we also become people whose lists never get done. Play, of course, begins in childhood, but we can't let it end there. And why does it matter that we play throughout our lives? Psychiatrist Stuart Brown's research tells us humans are uniquely embodied to play throughout our lifespan. In a TED Talk on the importance of play, he cites studies that show humans are the most youthful, the most flexible of all creatures, which gives us a leg up on adaptability. Studies also prove that play helps us develop emotional regulation in addition to supporting cognitive and physical developments. Parents and teachers know this basic truth. We learn by playing. In fact, animals and scientists increasingly believe people who are deprived of play in earliest life may not develop normal brains. Brown began his investigation into the significance of play by studying, of all things, mass murderers. I know, I was surprised too, but stay with me. It began in 1966 when the US experienced what was then its largest mass murder. Engineering student and former Marine Charles Whitman killed his wife and mother before heading to the University of Texas, Austin, and shooting to death 17 people and wounding 41 others. Just 25 at the time, there was no clear reason for Whitman's actions that day, which ended in him completing suicide. The governor of Texas wanted to understand how this had happened, so he convened a group of experts from fields like neuropathology, toxicology, neurology, sociology, psychology, psychiatry, and law enforcement to try to determine what caused Whitman's rampage. He had no known history of mental illness. Dr. Brown eventually founded the Institute for Play. On its website, it describes the groundbreaking work that expert panel did to uncover the reasons behind Whitman's horrific acts. A lifelong lack of play deprived him of opportunities to view life with optimism, to test alternatives, or learn the social skills that, as part of spontaneous play, prepare individuals to cope with life stress. The committee concluded that lack of play was a key factor in Whitman's homicidal actions. If he had experienced regular moments of spontaneous play during his life, they believed he would have developed the skill, flexibility, and strength to cope with stressful situations without violence. Dr. Brown's subsequent research of other violent individuals concludes that play can act as a powerful deterrent, even an antidote to violence. Play allows us to test out personalities and behaviors with no real-world consequences. When my husband is playing Dungeons and Dragons with friends, he pretends to be someone else and acts in ways that he usually really avoids doing. His characters are wily and cunning. He lies, he cheats. He's a trickster god in the body of a person, or more often, a gnome. At 48, he's been playing D&D for more than 30 years, albeit not continually. But the aspects that drew him in as a child draw him in still. Inventing and pretending to be fantasy characters, creating a story in cooperation with other players, and building community. Despite what our friends in the advertising industry want us to believe, we're never too old for play. In recent years, I've seen this firsthand in our home. 2.5 years ago, he and I adopted our 4th greyhound as a companion for our aging girl, Echo. She had only ever known our 2nd greyhound, Luna, also a girl. They got along fine, no friction. We had long been warned against having 2 female greyhounds together, something about competing for dominance, but we always had 2 girls and had never had a problem. So it was with some trepidation that we adopted a boy, Copper, who was just 2.5 when we got him, when Echo was 7. Copper is the epitome of a happy dog. You may have seen photos of dogs online where the dog is described as derpy. He is derpiness incarnate, goofy, playful. At first, poor Echo didn't know what to make of him and his silly energy. But before long, much to our immense surprise, she started to play with him. He brought out a part of her we'd never seen in our 5 or 6 years at that point of living with her. Echo did want to play somewhere deep inside. She just needed someone to bring it out of her. At age 10 now, she regularly launches playful attacks, bouncing around, tossing toys, nipping at Copper, jumping on us, unfortunately. As it turns out, you very much can teach an old dog new tricks. I'm certain that however long Echo lives, these final years of her life will have been the best simply because she's had a playmate, someone who antagonizes her, yes, but also welcomes her to be unabashedly silly with him. If it sounds like they have a very sibling energy, it's because they do. Copper, of course, the younger, annoying sibling, Echo, the too cool for school elder who eventually lets down her guard and tussles with him. We see this in popular culture all the time. Think of Disney's movie Frozen. The movie begins with Elsa and Anna, young sisters who love to play together. Elsa has the magical ability to conjure ice and snow, which leads to lots of indoor snow and ice rink fun. But when Elsa accidentally lets Anna get hurt, Elsa doesn't quite catch her in time. Elsa's parents forbid her to use her magic. That turns into she can't play with Anna anymore. Songwriters Kristen Anderson Lopez and Robert Lopez used the song "Do You Want to Build a Snowman?" to show both the passage of time and the changing relationship between the sisters, which is familiar even to those of us who didn't grow up with a sibling with magic powers. The first verse goes like this. Do you want to build a snowman? Come on, let's go and play. I never see you anymore. Come out the door. It's like you've gone away. We used to be best buddies, and now we're not. I wish you would tell me why. Do you want to build a snowman? It doesn't have to be a snowman. Elsa responds, "Go away, Anna." And the verse ends with Anna's plaintive, "Okay, bye." We've all felt this. You're so excited to spend time with a friend, or if like me, my older brother, you simply want to be with that person. You just want to play together. So you offer an idea. Do you want to build a snowman? You get no answer. So just like that, you cave. It doesn't have to be a snowman. Frequently, play is just about spending time with someone you care about. Other times, a quiet game of solitaire alone with your thoughts is the right choice. Play means connection, whether with yourself, with people you care about, sometimes with perfect strangers. Play means expression. Many of us are less inhibited when we play than we are other times. Of course, play takes myriad forms, which nurture our spirits by igniting our imaginations. We may be role-playing in Dungeons & Dragons or picturing the next hill we're going to climb on a hike. Either way, our imaginations and creativity are engaged. One of my favorite phenomena of recent years is the explosion of cosplay. Grown adults dress as their favorite characters from pop culture, and though they aren't inventing the characters themselves, the imagination they put into creating the costumes is amazing. Similarly, Renaissance fairs may have gross historical inaccuracies, probably do, but it doesn't really matter. We play for a day, dress in all manner of costumes, whether you're an employee or a visitor. And I defy you to put on a crown of daisies and tell me you don't feel different from usual. Maybe lighter, a little silly. Events like Renaissance fairs and conventions where cosplay happens invite us to play and pretend, however young or old we may be. Of course, we have to keep in mind that what is play for one may be torture for someone else. But that's okay, because one of the joys of life is discovering who wants to play in the same sandbox we want to be in. I played one game of D&D with Kevin, and I knew it wasn't for me. So he plays with his friends, and I do my thing. Everybody's happy. We all have our own ways of enjoying downtime. If you're having fun and not harming anyone else, go for it. Play welcomes us into our full selves by sparking imagination, teaching us countless intangible lessons, and inviting us into our physical selves. We spend so much time in our heads, but when we play, often we are into our bodies in a way we often aren't. Whether we're hiking, playing a game or sport, or creating something with our hands, play can help bring us more fully home to these amazing vessels we inhabit. As Gunther says, play engages us in holy uselessness, which may be the most significant thing we'll do any given day. Take a moment to call to mind a cherished memory. Maybe it involved time spent with someone else, maybe doing nothing but being together, staring at a sunset, or fighting giggles at a funeral or some other giggle inappropriate event. Chances are it's less about what you were doing and more about who you were with. I love my work as a hospice chaplain, and one reason is because despite what people imagine, hospice patients very often, as they face their deaths, get in touch with a sense of playfulness they may have been missing. Artifice disappears for most people facing terminal illness. Why bother with appearances anymore when death looms so near? Adult children get to see a side of their parents that had withered from disuse, now brought back to the fore. Simple, unadulterated joy. We cannot wait until we get a terminal diagnosis to let our playfulness run free. We owe it to ourselves, our families, and our communities to allow the silliness we have inside to come out. So please take time this afternoon to rediscover what play means to you. It won't look the same for me as it will for you. And make time to do something fun for its own sake. As you move into the rest of your day, and each day this week, ask yourself, do you want to build a snowman? But remember, It doesn't have to be a snowman. Amen and blessed be.
We come from the fire, living in the fire. Go back to the fire, turn the world around. We come from the water, living in the water. Go back to the water, turn the world around. We come from the mountain, living on the mountain. Go back to the mountain, turn the world around. Whoa! So is life. Ah, so is life. Whoa! So is life. Ah, so is life. Do you know who I am? Do I know who you are? See we one another clearly. Do we know who we are? Do you know who I am? Do I know who you are? See we one another clearly. Do we know who we are? See you know who I am? Do you know who clearly? See we one another clearly. Do we know who we are? Whoa! So is life a batiwa. So is life. Whoa! So is life a batiwa. So is life. Water make the river, river wash the mountain. Fire make the sunlight turn the world around. Heart is of the river, body is the mountain, spirit is the sunlight, turn the world around. We are of the Spirit, truly of the Spirit, only can the Spirit turn the world around. Whoa! So is life a batiwa. Ha! So is life. Whoa! So is life a batiwa. Ha! So is life. Whoa! So is life a batiwa. Ha! So is life. Whoa! So is life a batiwa. Ha! So is life.
As children, we all live in a world of imagination, of fantasy. And for some of us, that world of make-believe continues into adulthood. Certainly, I've lived my whole life through the imagination. The world of imagination is there for all of us, a sense of play, of pretending, of wonder. It's there with us as we live.
Extinguishing the Chalice by Elizabeth Sella Jones. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Blessed be.
Shalom, chaverim, shalom, chaverim, shalom.